Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Joel's College of Swing Era Knowledge. It is June 27th, Saturday Live. And tonight we are focusing on some Bal-Swing. And lately in my College of Swing Era Knowledge, I've been trying to jot down ideas of what to cover. And in thinking of that, there are some steps that I feel like we've lost over the years, lost, so to speak. Either I don't see them being taught anymore, I don't see them being done on the social floor, or if I bring it up in like a private lesson or in a class where in my head it's just like normal everyday stuff. People are like, "What's that? I never heard of that." And so I'm trying to share a lot of those things lately. And again, that's a personal choice, of course. But this one tonight in particular, I think is interesting. And so in my list of things I wish still existed on my Balboa Bal-Swing list, I put down the transition step. And so the first thing is to throw that out there, the transition step. What is that? And for those of you Balboa fans out there and listening, watching right now, or watching this later and going, I have no idea what that step is. And so that's what I mean. It's like one of those things back in the day that used to be part of our everyday repertoire. My Bal-Swing Fundamentals DVD is based off of that concept, because when we originally learned it, there would be things like, okay, we would say as teachers, do a basic, a transition step, and then a throw out. And we just kind of knew what that was. It'd be like a Lindy Hopper saying like, all right, do a jockey in closed position, do a swing out from closed, a swing out from open in a circle, and not knowing what a swing out was, right? So it's maybe a jargon thing. Maybe once you see it, you'll go, oh yeah, I remember that step. But I don't think it's being passed on to the masses as it used to be, and that's not a huge deal. Like I'm definitely not one of those like, all right, everybody should be doing this or should be doing that. It's just an observation for myself over the years in doing that step. And now, with that said, on the kind of teacher jargon step toolkit kind of thing, and passing that along now socially, I bring this up all the time when I go and teach, especially Balboa. And a lot of times when I talk to people, followers in particular, about Balboa, um, not as frequently anymore, but there used to be a time when they would say, like, oh, yeah, I don't know if I like that dance. It doesn't feel so good. And then I would just like, oh, okay. And I'd dance with them and I'd dance Balboa with them. And a lot of times the people that would say, it doesn't feel good after I dance with them, they would then say, I haven't had Balboa feel like that before. And so that was really telling for the community that I was in dancing or the event or whatnot. And again, I know nobody is out there trying to teach uh, any dance for that matter for it to be painful or feel uncomfortable. But I think some dances are a little more difficult than others with regards to the connection and how you get connected and how it can feel to another partner. And a lot of times we as leaders have no idea what we're doing with our frame and our connection and how that affects another person. And then, unless the followers are really willing to bring it up to that individual to improve their connection and their Balboa skills and whatnot, pretty much as leaders just going to keep doing what they do and not improve. And so whenever I was in a community where, I actually share that story all the time when I teach Balboa, because one of the things I really try to focus on is the feel of the dance, especially in pure Bal. But then in particular, especially to faster music, I think this use of the transition step is really important for leaders. And for all of you out there that are mainly followers that are watching, you definitely want to get this step down solid in your body tonight and share this with your partners when you go back to the dance floor and do Balboa, because I think this is one step in particular that really makes the difference, again, especially fast tempos, that will make your Balboa feel even better. So let's let me get up and show you a little bit what I mean when I say the transition step. And again, like it might be a jargon thing. Maybe you know this step. Let me see if I can get my whole head in there. Let me step back a little bit, but still have my feet. I don't want to get my head cut off. Okay. Okay. So here's the transition step. And so as soon as you see this, you might be like, oh yeah, now I remember that. Or, it's just a naming thing. So if I'm doing a basic, and here's my basic. So now I'm going to do a transition step. Twist, out and in, then to the come around, and then I'm going to come back to a basic. We're going to base everything today off of that. Watch that again. So here I am from the back. I do a basic step. Now I'm going to do a what we call transition step to a come around. And then for tonight, we're just going to go back to a basic. So now after seeing it, because a lot of times some teachers will say, oh, that move, and it's just they named it different. But as soon as you see it, you're like, I remember that. Okay, so now that you've seen it, let's break this down, because again, I'm trying to remember in any recent Balboa weekends, workshops, etc. Like it's not even listed as a step to be taught, so to speak, like a specific, like we're going to work on this today. And toward the last few years when I traveled a lot, I would bring this up in class. It'd be like, do a basic, a transition step, come around into a throw up. And a lot of people, again, would be like, what's a transition step? And I'd be like, uh-oh. So we usually spend the time working on it. So when you're doing your let's take a step back for a second. And again, this is a kind of like the whole basis of my basic Balboa DVD. You have your basic, and then you have that really crucial step called the come around. And I've been doing a couple sessions on this with my Balboa stuff where I rotate my hips 1, 2, get that come around 3, 4, and I like to get all the way around 360 back to you. If I do that from the back, again, if I'm just in closed position, I turn the hips, pivot on 3, 4, finish 5, 6, and then come back to the basic. Now you can use that step going straight from a basic right to a throw out. So basically that would be basic come around throw out, basic come around lollies, basic come around pop turn. You see what I mean? It's a really essential step. But when the music gets a little bit faster, going right to that come around can sometimes feel like too quick or just really rushed. And so what I'm going to do instead, watch it from the front one time, and I'm going to break it down from the back. Right before I do the come around, I'm going to do step, step, twist, in, then an out, and an in. All right, and you're looking at that and you're like, oh, that's out and ins, or what we used to call crossovers. And yes, this was the step we used to get into old school, what we call crossovers, which nowadays everyone calls out and in. So that's another thing I don't see anymore. Out and ins, I know when I see a Balboa class it says out and ins, I know back in the day we would call those crossovers. And I know back in the day we would start getting into it from this position. Now you can see my feet are crossed, right? So we would use that transition step to get to this open position. And what I mean by that, let me do it from the side so you can see this. You can see a couple different angles. I'm going to go step, step, twist, and I'm going to pull this foot in on count 4 as I release my forearm. 4, and then out and in. Okay, watch it from the back. So I'm here. From the back, all you're going to see is the twist. 1, 2, twist, come in, and then an out and an in. Now watch it from this side so you get all 4 angles. So again, I'm going to go step, step, twist, a little slight twist on 3. I pull this foot in and I release my right forearm at the same time. That releases my partner on count 4. And then I have an out and an in. Okay, so that is the transition step shown from 4 different angles. We're going to break it down a little bit slower, but I just wanted you to see the timing of that. And so back in the day, I mean, even today, like we know that the basic hold patterns of Balboa are hold 3 and 7 or 4 and 8 if we're stepping down. What I like about this is we're using the hold on 3, but we're creating a really nice feel of a twist. And so for the followers out there, what happens a lot is when I twist, followers will interpret that as a step down, and they'll get a little bit stuck with the first step. And so that's one thing we'll go over in great detail in a second. But for the leaders, that twist is kind of that transition to get our partners away from us into what we're going to call Bal-Swing, right? So we've got Balboa in closed position, and then we've got Bal-Swing in open position. And that was kind of the differentiation back in the day. Balboa was here, Bal-Swing was here. How do we get from Bal to Bal-Swing? And again, we would use this idea of a transition step. Now, the timing is really important when it comes to that twist and that release. So I'm going to go back to this right arm really quick. So I'm going to turn this way so you can really see this. So when I have a step, step, twist, that twist again is happening on the hold on 3. And then on 4, as I bring my body weight forward onto the left foot, that's the exact time I release what I call the nestlage of my right forearm. Right? So by the time of count 4, the follower will have stepped back on count 4. So as a leader, I would think 1, 2, twist, release. And that twist is just to the corner. It's not a full like 90-degree kind of thing. It's just, so I'm facing you, the corner's right there, and I just get this nice little corner and then a release. Now to reinforce the timing on that, so I've got this pillow here, I'm nestled with this pillow, and you're going to see it drop down on that count 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I just release the nestlage. It's really gentle. And when you get that nice little twist step, then for the follower, what ends up happening, so watch if I'm following here, I'm going to feel 1, 2, I'm going to feel that twist on 3, and then that release will make your right foot go back on 4. Okay? And then we have that out and in. So for the followers, that would be left, right, left. So that's where we start to get that out and in. And I completely understand how teaching-wise we evolved into calling them out and ins and whatnot. But again, I feel like we've lost those steps in between. I will often see a leader just step away on count 5, push away. I've seen a lot of different ways to do steps. I'm not here to say that one is right or wrong. From my personal experience, I'm letting you know the feedback that I've gotten from followers when it comes to the feel of this dance. And I think this is a big part of it. Okay, so now again, let me do that from the back. You can do that with me. So let's freeze on 3. So we're going to freeze on 3. The corner's right here. So we're going to go 1, 2, freeze on 3. 5, 6, here we go. 1, 2, 3. So I'm twisting my body. I put my left foot out, and I keep it on the floor. All right, so I'm keeping that kind of shuffly feel and look of Bal. And now bring that left foot in, right in front, 4, and bring your weight forward on top of it. And you can't see my arm, but that's when we release. Let's do that again. We're going to go to 4. Step, step, twist, release. 5, 6, here we go. Step, step, twist, release as you step in. Okay, so now your left foot is crossed in front of the right as a leader. That's why we used to call these crossovers. And then I take this position and my hand is going to go out and in, and as a leader, my feet are going to go back together forward. And again, you'll see that my right foot is crossed over my left. Okay, so now when we get, sorry, the dog kept scratching at the door. Okay, so now when we get to this position, so listen to the mantra again for you teachers. 1, 2, twist, release, out, and in. Right? So the twist is on 3, the release and the step is on 4, and then 5, 6, 7 is out and in. And a lot of times we would say like back together, forward. Okay, now from that position, I'm going to do a come around. And again, today we're just going to go right back to a basic. But back, so again, like my Balboa Basics DVD is based off of, we do a basic, a come around into lollies, throwouts, pop turns, whatever. And then there's a whole section on do a basic, a transition step, then the come around, and then into your lolly, throwout, etc. And again, for me personally, the transition step is better for faster music. Just in general, it has it's got a nice smooth feel to it. Yeah? So if we dance through that whole thing one more time, watch it from the front, and then we'll do it together from the back. So remember, I'm going to twist on 3. 1, 2, twist, step, then out and in. And now I'm going to turn my hips. My hand is still going to do an out and in. And then I'm just going to, tonight, go back into a basic. But really quick, obviously, if you're in this position, you have out and in, release, throw out. You have out and in, stay connected with both hands, lolly. You have out and in, just stay connected with the right hand, pop turn. But remember, we've done that nice transition step right before it. Okay, so from the back, let's do this together. So we're going to go all the way with the out and in, and then turn the hips and do a come around. You should come right back to this position for the basic. Okay, 5, 6, 1, basic. Step, step, hold, step, 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 hold. Now we think step, step, twist, release, out and in. Come around, turn the hips, and step, step, hold, and back to the basic. Okay. All right, are there any questions out there? Looking good. Okay. Excellent. So far, so good. Everybody just saying hi to each other. Fantastic. All right, let's do that one more time. My back will be turned to the comments to the screen, and we'll see if we have any questions. So once again, transition step, 1 basic, transition, then the come around. 5, 6, here we go. Basic, a step, step, hold, step, 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 hold, step, transition, twist, release, out and in, then the come around, out and in, back to the basic. Okay, so hopefully you were up and we danced it through a couple times. Now, I want to talk about the feel of this. So as I'm dancing, it's got this really nice kind of S-curvy kind of thing, because you're here, you get that twist, release, and there's an out and in, and then curving into the next come around. And so again, I think that's where if we've lost this skill over the years, and if leaders are just kind of jumping into the come around at faster tempos, or if leaders are just stepping away for the out and in move that we currently label it. For me, if you're doing that, again, it's not wrong, but all of a sudden you're dancing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of a sudden you're apart in one count. And so that, especially at faster music, that can be kind of abrupt or quick. And then you've got all this connection, and then it just goes out to a position. And so this idea of transitioning, so I love the name of the step and again, how it feels. We transition from a closed Balboa position to an open Bal-Swing position. So let's focus on that statement a little bit. So a closed Balboa position, and again, depending on your preferences or how you've learned, when I learned from Maxi and whatnot, I learned what we'll call the V connection, and I really nestle with my right forearm versus my hand in my Balboa. And I'm trying to focus on that. And so as I do that twist release, we talked about the release of the arm 3, 4. So you can see, like, here's my forearm right in front of my body here. And when I go to 4, you can see my hand comes out. And now the follower slips, steps, transitions right into my hand by count 4, and then we have the out and in. So I never lose connection with my partner. It just transitions to what I would call the Bal-Swing or hand connection. I know some of you like to connect with your Balboa with the hand on the back as you're dancing. And again, there's no right or wrong there. For me, though, it's really, really super clear when I'm in Bal with my V and my forearm nestlage, and Bal-Swing with my hand on the back. So that's another key difference for me in the feel of the Balboa and going from pure Bal into the Bal-Swing into the transition step before that out and in. Let's see. The physics of this technique is more clear and comfortable to the followers. Oh, cool. When I do this with new followers, they light up and love it. Light up and light. See, that's the thing is like when I dance this, a lot of times, yeah, the followers be like, "Ooh, what was that?" Like they don't even realize that all of a sudden they've stepped back and they're into again what we call out and ins. You've kind of tricked them. And so it all depends, right? Where you've learned your Balboa from, the teachers you've had, what your patterns are on the social dance floor, what you normally do. So I just wanted to make sure I shared this with everybody out there, especially if you're a Balboa teacher. I'd really recommend starting to put this into your repertoire, right? And so if you've got a group of beginner dancers and you're working with like do the basic, do the come around, and you know that come around goes into the throwouts and the lollies and the pop turns and stuff, and you're working that pattern. As you increase the tempo, start to introduce this idea of the transition step. It just helps kind of build into there. So now again, you can do everything basic, come around, Bal-Swing figure, lolly throw out pop turn, or basic transition, come around, Bal-Swing position. Right? Are you seeing where my head's at with all these transitions and whatnot? So, oh my goodness, my apologies. The dog is now at the front door. Hold, please. While I'm getting the dog, we are very professional here. Okay. All right. So let me go, and again, yes, good boy, Hops. Okay, let me dance. Again, we usually use this transition into the out and ins just because I've talked about the throw out, the pop turn, and the lolly, right? So if I dance it here and I do a basic, I just want you to see the out and in kind of thing. I transition, and then from that transition, because I've already had one out and in, I'm going to do two more out and ins, out and in, out and in. And again, back in the day, we used to call those crossovers, and then do a come around back into the basic, right? But again, I'm using that transition step to get me into that first out and in, if you will, right? And so that's another like typical beginner pattern, right? Do a basic, do 3 crossovers because it gets you back on the correct foot. You do a come around back into a basic. And again, for me, my jargon would be do 1 basic, a transition step, then 2 crossovers, and then the come around, as far as like jargon goes. And I know different teachers have different names for things. It's all good. I just don't want you all to lose the beautiful transition step that was passed down to us. And I believe this was Jonathan and Sylvia days, 2000, 2001, back in the day. Those were the patterns that we learned. So let's get up and reinforce that we are getting this super, super solid. So one more time, I'm going to turn around so you can see my feet. We're going to do 1 basic, a transition, come around back to a basic. Okay, let's do the steps first. 5, 6, basic. Step, step, hold, step, 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 hold, step, 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 twist, step, out and in, turn the hips, come around, step, step, hold, step. Now let's do the numbers. Okay, 5, 6, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and back to the sit. Okay, now as I was doing that, we're in a different world now with me just being alone here and not watching people in class and stuff. As I was doing that, another very common thing that comes up for the followers. So remember, we talked about that twist on 3 and then the leader's weight coming forward on 4. So followers, if you're true to feeling that rhythm, you'll have a hold on 3, just a slight twist to your body. Be careful not to step down too early. And then on 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's where you're going to step back, right, on your right foot on count 4, and then you'll feel the out and in, back together, forward. But the other thing that typically happens, so for followers out there, be careful that you don't step down as soon as you feel the twist. It's just a rotation of the body. It's not a committed step on 3. So that's the first thing. The second thing, followers, is with your left hand. So if I'm following, okay, a lot of times what happens, so proof I'm following my leaders here. A lot of times followers will hang on too tightly with the left arm. And so when that twist happens, and for the followers, you have a 1, 2, 3, and now the release happens on 4, but if you hang on too tight, you won't be able to step away. So this left arm, you gotta let that left arm slide with your body and step back on count 4, and now you have back together, forward, and your left arm is usually gonna be near the leader's tricep area, again, depending on different heights and stuff. So big takeaways for the followers. Remember not to step down on count 3 when it's just a hold or a twist, and allow your left arm to slide away as your body steps back on count 4. All right, so remember the leader's doing a twist release, and when that release happens, let your whole body move back. So if you're following and you're here, when your body moves back on count 4 and you step back, this goes back with you versus hanging on to the back. So you can see how I move my body back, but I'm hanging on to my leader that's right here, and my arm extends, and I'm here and I step back. Everything goes with me. So those are 2 big tips for the followers, but obviously the footwork and the rhythm and the movement is there for the leader. All right, any questions out there? The transition step. Maxi style is so solid. Yeah, and thank you, Catherine. This is definitely passed down from a Maxi Dorf style of leading, if you will, the nestlage with the forearm and all of that good stuff. Okay, I believe, I'm trying to remember if there was anything else I wanted to make sure we knew other than obviously the rhythm of the step, why it looks so good and feels so good. We got the footwork down. We talked about the followers things. The Joel. Yeah. Okay. All right. We have time. Let's dance it one more time. Okay. So once again, actually, let's do this time. Let's do 1 basic, a transition step, 2 more crossovers, or you might know them as out and ins, and then the come around back into a basic. Listen again. 1 basic transition step, 2 more crossovers, and then they come around back to the basic. Okay, watch it from the front. So I'm going to do it fast just so you can see that. So basic, shabba-dabba-doo, transition, yaga-da-da, 2 more crossovers, and then the come around back into the basic. Boom, boom. Okay, here we go. Let's do it together. Not that fast though. 5, 6, here we go. Basic, step, step, hold, step. And now we transition, twist, release, out, and boom. 2 more crossovers. And now do the come around, turning the hips out and in, and back into the basic. Boom, boom. Very good. All right. So hopefully, for those of you out there, you can add this to your repertoire as a leader. For the followers out there, I hope you're able to get up and practice this enough. It's not the easiest step. When we're dancing it solo, it's one thing, but getting connected and working that out. So for you teachers out there, the exercises that I would normally do in class, I wouldn't do this normally socially. This is an exercise. I'd be dancing 1, 2, twist, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, twist, 5, 6, 7. Just to get the followers to feel that that nice twist is still just a hold. It's not a step. We're using the step, step, hold, step pattern, and we're putting a twist in. But I don't do that social. Let me say this again. That's an exercise just to feel a slight rotation in the body on the uphold of 3 versus any kind of a step. I just want you to get used to it. Now you add on step, step, twist, release. And I would stop at count 4. And what you're looking for is, again, the forearm connection to the hand, looking for the follower's left arm to slide down to the leader's arm, right? If they're back in the lat area or shoulder, whatever, let that arm slide down for count 4. You're looking for the leader's left foot to be slightly crossed over, weight forward on count 4, and the follower's right foot should be back on count 4. And not leaning back or out of control, but a nice, easy step back on count 4. Okay, and that's, yeah, Catherine, good timing on that. Left arm should never be connected heavily, so it can't step back anyway. Yep, hanging puts that, yep, exactly. So it reinforces that good technique. If a follower is hanging on tight or like too stiff, then they're not going to feel that good release. Okay, so that's a big checkpoint for you as teachers out there. Play with the twist on 3. Stop on 4. Check that key position and those key points that I just brought up. From there, it gets pretty easy. Out and in, come around using the out and in with good rotation. I did a whole class on that. I think that was the Tuesday's Balboa class, a 360-degree come around, working that. And now you can use this going into all of your Bal-Swing, throwouts, pop turns, lollies. We just at the end danced transition step, 2 more crossovers, or what we would now call out and ins. But think about that really nice smooth transition into your out and ins now. I guarantee you, leaders, if you start putting this into your muscle memory, if you're quarantined at home and you're just dancing solo, just practice, practice, practice this movement. And once you get back on the dance floor and dance in Balboa and you try this with your partners, they're going to love the feel of the wonderful transition step. Ladies and gentlemen, steps that I wish still existed tonight, Bal-Swing transition step. I hope you enjoyed. I know these sessions are really short and quick, but think of any hour-long class you've ever taken. If you could donate half of that amount to the knowledge that you've now gained, and I guarantee you, leaders, this is going to make huge differences in your Balboa. Please consider sending the beautiful donations our way, and I hope you enjoy Joel's College of Swing Era Knowledge. As always, night, night. Crazy about you all. Stay safe and enjoy.